As international papers starting, of course, with the British papers continuing to react to the attack on Saturday, Alison. Seems Brits may be ready to scrap their kind of World War II mantra of keep calm and carry on.
That's right, Stuart. They want to turn it into a weapon. I want you guys to take a look at this cartoon from the Times. We see your typical World War II era man, but his stiff upper lip has turned into somewhat of a snarl. He's rolled up his sleeves, and he's also rolled up that keep calm and carry on poster, and he's looking quite ready to fight back. And you can see that one word down below, enough.
Certainly is, isn't he? Let's have a look at some of the other front pages. One British tabloid is paying homage to those who rushed to the scene to help the victims.
That's right. The Daily Star is saluting what they call the heroes of the attack. Emergency services and brave revelers saved dozens of lives, they say on their front page. Among them, a journalist, Jeff Ho. We see his photo there in a circle. It's one in the circle. He tried to tackle the attackers. And the paper is really one of many who's giving a special nod to the police forces who rushed to the scene in just 8 minutes. On the front page of another tabloid, the Daily Mail, we see a photo that was on many of yesterday's front pages as well. They talk about the bloody day all of Britain said, enough is enough. Those words that were spoken yesterday by the Prime Minister have made it onto many of today's front pages.
Yeah, and in that speech yesterday, in fact, Theresa May calling for a real crackdown on online tools used to recruit jihadists, a demand that seems reasonable when looking at the front page of the Daily Telegraph, Alison?
That's right. The Daily Telegraph talks about the YouTube link to the terror attacks. The paper reports that counterterrorism police recorded a terrorist cell discussing how they could use YouTube to help them to plot an attack. The paper reports how one of Saturday's attackers was radicalized by listening to YouTube videos that were posted by an extremist American Islamist. This same attacker was also previously reported to police for trying to radicalize children. The Times reports that he was born in Pakistan, he grew up in Britain, and one of his neighbors had actually warned police that he was trying to recruit local children. One of those was a local teenager who worked at the same gym as the attacker did. He said that the attack suspect had approached him about joining the Islamic State group multiple times.
However, Theresa May's proposals for this new counter-terrorism text, if they're not been met with universal approval, are they? You found a piece, notably The Guardian, disagreeing.
That's right. In their editorial today, The Guardian says quite plainly that Theresa May is wrong with these proposals. The left-wing paper says she's confusing terrorism with extremism. Now, this may seem like a strange distinction to make to some people, but The Guardian says, look, terrorism is an act, extremism is an ideology, and policing ideology means that you're policing thoughts. Now, if you're not convinced by this argument, the paper says that really it's important because it would make it hard for counterterrorism officials to work with people who hold extremist beliefs but are opposed to violence, and those people, according to The Guardian, are the ones that we really need to help in the fight against terror.
Independent now, you found a report about one man who's taking the fight against terror into his own hands.
That's right. He is quite literally challenging jihadists to a duel. You can see his picture here in The Independent. His name is Andre Walker. He's a columnist for the New York Observer. He's placed a 50,000-pound bounty on his own head. He says, I'm not worried about looking silly, nor am I worried about ISIS. Come on, lads, have a crack.
Interesting way to look at it, isn't it? Now, another show of defiance. Manchester last night, we're going to talk about now. That benefit concert, of course, played by Ariana Grande. A number of other stars involved as well.
That's right. Justin Bieber, Katy Perry, Coldplay. There were a lot of stars there. But according to the local paper, the city's unbreakable spirit is really what stole the show. 50,000 fans filled the stadium. You can see that big crowd in that photo there. The paper says the most magical moment was when girls from a local high school joined Ariana Grande on stage to sing. They said at that moment there was not a dry eye in the house.
But there wasn't. Third attack, of course, in the UK in 3 months, and the latest in many attacks that the world has seen in the past few years. One American journalist has been reflecting on terror fatigue.
That's right. This is a writer from Slate. He says that attacks don't shock and scare us like they used to, and he's wondering if that's a good thing or a bad thing. This writer was in London this weekend, and he compared it to the experience he had after the Boston Marathon bombings in 2013. He says he's remembered at that time how disoriented he felt and how the city really seemed to come to a standstill afterward, which he says was really not the case in London on Saturday. Instead, he says the city really kept going, and instead, even the simplest acts like couples kissing, people drinking beer became a symbol of defiance.
And in fact, it was true of one particular beer drinker. He's gone viral, this guy, hasn't
That's
he?
right. This man was captured on camera fleeing from the attack scene with a beer in his hand. People on social media really seized upon this image. You can see it today in Metro News. The title there really says it all. Man drinking pint while fleeing terror becomes symbol of London spirit.
life carries on.
Never waste that.
Exactly. All right, thank you very much, Alison. Thanks to Delano as well.